Hello everybody, this is the first demo of Exogress. So Exogress is a tool or a service which helps you to easily expose your web applications. So uh, typically, in order to make your web application available, you have to deal with many like networking things and configuration things, like setting up reverse proxy server, dealing with TLS certificates, knowing your IP addresses and ports. So with Exogress that doesn't make any sense. So the tool is pretty simple. So it exposes your web applications right to the Exogress infrastructure. So you just need to spawn a single command and it magically works. So let's see how it works with a setup of web server called Synapse. Synapse is a part of Matrix project. So Matrix is a new messaging ecosystem that allows you to have like your own messaging server running in your home network and connect to it from anywhere. The second part of it is that it have like federated access, which allows your home server to connect to other home servers. This is called a federation, and sending messages or VoIP calls to people who are registered on another server. So Synapse as a particular web server that should be run somewhere in your home network. Unfortunately, running this server is not enough to make it work, so it requires it to be accessible somewhere on the public domain. It should be protected with HTTPS, and all of it requires additional configuration. This is not that fast, and sometimes it's tricky. So with Exogress, everything is really simple. So let's start from registering the new project in the Exogress account. So you see the control panel. This is like an early version. It's going to be, the UI is going to be reworked, and but the logic is pretty reasonable. So the project is a place where configuration of the web services lives. So let's call it like home Synapse. Alright, so we just created a project, and let's quickly observe what is available on this website. We can choose a particular project to work on. There is a menu item called domains. So you can easily add the domain so that you can run some of your web applications under this domain. The benefit of using Exogress is that if you want to try something, or if you don't have your own domain yet, you can create the third level domain zone on the xg.link zone. So let's do it. Let's create some domain name. Home Synapse. Then create. Alright, let's see that domain name was created, and the certificate has been retrieved. So Exogress uses Let's Encrypt under the hood, so you have automatic certificates generation and renewal, so you don't need to care about it. As you see, certificate status is ready, so you can now use this domain. If we go to it, there is like an empty screen here, nothing works. But generally TLS session already established, so this part is already working. So in order to make it work, to be able to connect to the Exogress infrastructure, you need the Exogress client. On Mac This is available through Homebrew. Let's set the tab. Alright, and install Exogress. I'll make it bigger. Alright, let's create the directory. Synapse demo, and check if Exogress command is available. It is. So Exogress provides you the mechanism to generate the predefined configurations for some particular networks and platforms. Let's check this command, Exogress init. Currently it supports like Laravel, Rails, Svelte and Synapse. So we can initialize new configuration suitable for Synapse. Let's see, there are a few files generated here. Wait a sec. Alright, let's check what's available here now. So Synapse, there's a Synapse server and a Docker file. So Docker file, it's inherited from the main Synapse image, and it adds new steps. It installs the Exogress client, add the exa file. Exa file is a configuration of a particular service, and it changes the entry point from start.py to Exogress spawn start.py. So the Exogress command will run the Synapse server. And the Synapse admin is a web application. It helps you to manage Synapse instance through the web UI without command line interface. So it does pretty the same. So it is inherited from the Ubuntu image, and it copies static files from the Synapse admin Docker image to the app directory, and installs exa file, install Exogress, add exa file, and as a command it just run the Exogress client. So the difference, as you can see, is that here we use spawn with some command name, and here it just spawned without any command name. So in this scenario the client will be launched and it will not try to launch anything else. Here it will also launch the startup.py, like as another process. So another interesting part is an exa file. So exa file is a YAML. That's a configuration that is accepted by Exogress service. So you see that it have name and the concept of mount points. Mount point is the name which links your configurations to the particular domain name. So this script, init script, uses default mount point, and they need to create one in the project. So let's go here, mount points, and create mount point with the name default. And here's our domain, home synapse demo xglink. Create. Done. So now we can use this mount point in config files. This is the pretty simple configuration that will just serve the static directory under the path app. Synapse server exe file is a bit harder to understand, but it actually reflects the complexity which should be covered when you run like the Synapse server. There is a handler. Handlers, the concept of handlers is that we have like priority, and when requests come to the server, it will go through handlers according to priority and try to serve the one of it step by step. So in the previous example, we have static directory handler. Here we have the proxy handler. Proxy handler will forward all traffic to the desired upstream named Synapse. Synapse, we can see it here. So Synapse is listens on local host on a port 2008. So this handler will try to proxy the traffic to the local host. The additional entry here is rules. Rules provide you with a way to choose which traffic should be served by this handler. So in other words, by this upstream. We see that we need few filters to make it work. So the first one is pretty interesting. In order for federation to work, we need a special file to be placed on a special path, well-known matrix server, and it should respond with the JSON pointing other matrix servers to the location where federation endpoint lives. So you see that this rule forces response, the static response called delegation. The delegation static response is defined in this config also. So this is the response with content type application JSON and with the following content. You see that this is JSON. The interesting part here is that we need to put the domain name which is used by this servers, by this public endpoint. So instead of hard coding it to the domain name, we can just use the handlebars templating and use substitution with the host name fixed for this mount point. So Exogress servers will interpolate this template and respond to the proper response. Other filters are pointing three URLs which should be covered by this handler. All URLs started, all paths started with underscore matrix, underscore synapse, and underscore client should be handled by this server. And you see that this exe file doesn't know anything about Synapse admin, and Synapse admin doesn't know anything about Synapse server. But Exogress works in a way so that handlers under the same mount point name that they used in the same project, they are merged together, and they build a single list of handlers according to the priorities. So the less priority is, the faster it will start execution. So in this case, the first one is going to be a Synapse, and then if it doesn't serve the request, there will be a Synapse admin. Alright, so there are two more files, exogress.env and synapse.env. They are both used in Docker Compose. They provide they need to store some configuration data. So Synapse requires you to pass the public name, and we know what the public name is. It's home synapse demo.xg.link. Put it here. And exogress.env require to enter a few parameters. XG account is the account name under which you work, so glepom/github. exe project is home Synapse. And then you need to generate the access token. So this is easy through the web interface. Let's create the access token. Here it is, access key ID. And the secret key. Alright, so we are now ready. Let's go to the console. And actually the first step is to generate the configuration for Synapse. Synapse server generate. So it started building the new Docker images with the Exogress. Alright. Okay, the configuration file was generated. So now we are ready to spawn. Docker compose up. Alright. So both images respond. And let's see one more interesting thing here on the web UI. So here is the page of the project. The tab is called Active Configuration. So you see that configuration was loaded to the cloud, and you see that both handlers are available on the default mount point. And you can see the list of connected instances. So actually Synapse admin and Synapse are two different instances, and Synapse have the upstream called Synapse. It's available here. So let's try to connect to these instances through the Matrix client called Element. Sign in, and we should choose the other home server. The main name is this one, and click continue. Alright, looks like it's connected. No, sorry, we need to create an account then. Okay, so it says unable to query for supported registration methods. So it seems like we didn't enable the registration. Let's go to the configuration. Let's go to the Synapse configuration, the one which was generated previously with the command. And enable registration. True. And launch it again. Alright. Create account. Okay, now it works. So let's create the account. Register. So you see there are certain queries, and we have connected. So the server is empty, nobody is here, but we can check that federation actually works. Let's go to the matrix.org. Alright, so we see that a few publicly available room from the matrix.org server is here. Well, there are a few more interesting things that I would like to share with you. So the first one is logs. So you can go in the cloud interface to the logs page and see pretty detailed information about what was requested and how it was handled. So there is information about location. There is information about steps, what steps was taken by Exogress server to serve this request, and you can filter out it by different parameters, like for example status code, location. So Exogress have gateways in different locations, so we can filter out by a particular location. And this is probably a federation events, so they were queried from it's actually queried from Great Britain. That's a part of matrix.org infrastructure. And one more thing that I want to share is let's check if Synapse admin works. Yeah, that's the same domain. Okay. So as you can see, this is another instance of Exogress client, another handler which is merged with the backend handler. So it's just available for particular paths, and it's not, and this path are not intersecting. So we can actually, under the same domain, we can host many different web services. You can see that when you host some, you often host some services which shouldn't be available for the public internet. So Synapse server, it is protected by itself, but this software, the Synapse admin, should probably be prohibited from anybody besides me. I just don't want anybody to see it. Exogress provides an easy way to reach that. Config also exists in the cloud, so you can see this page project config, and you can define some additional rules which will be a part of the handlers list at a particular point. So points, default handlers, kind, handlers of kind of priority. So we have Synapse server with priority 50 and Synapse admin with priority 100. So we need something in between. Let's take 75. This authorization handler provides supports to all of the providers. Handler's name: GitHub, ECL, allow. So we will require authorization with the priority 75 through GitHub, and will allow access to username Glepon. Okay, let's try to update. Okay, we see the requirement to log in through GitHub. Click here. Alright, now you have access because I have already been authorized through GitHub. And that's just the beginning. So there are a lot of features of Exogress, like caching on the edge, uh, application firewall, proxying to S3 or GCS buckets, um, advanced rules, filtering, modifications of request, and many more. I will cover it in the future videos, and hope you like it. And we are in the early stage. We are looking for beta testers. The service is generally working, and you can use it for some non-mission critical tasks like working on localhost um, or I don't know, like dealing with home servers. Uh, thanks for listening to this, and see you later. Bye.